Professor Robert Jorge, first of all, I would like to thank you for your willingness and availability to be talking with us on this issue of marine conservation and education for sustainability. You are well-known people in the trade, so to speak, and you have an impressive curriculum on teaching, on conservation, and on raising awareness of other people. How do you define yourself? You are basically a researcher, a conservationist, maybe all of those things, maybe other. How do you define yourself and your career and interests? Yeah,
well, first of all, I'm very deeply delighted to be participating in this interview. You know, I started as a marine biology professor and taught for many years. Then at the dawn of this century, I thought I should change gear and devote more of my time for conservation of marine environment, and particularly the deep ocean. You know, I've written books and several peer-reviewed research papers in deep sea. So that's what I'm doing and keeping myself quite busy in this field.
Okay. I have read in your curriculum also that you are founder and head of the GIBS, the George Institute for Biodiversity and Sustainability. Was this a decisive step in your change? It's a strategy to make better awareness raising among people. What's the purpose and the produce of this GIBS, please?
Well, quite frankly, you know, we are entering an era which even call it Anthropocene. Yeah. You know, no longer the Holocene. So there is so much threat because of climate change, mainly ocean acidification, and of course mining and all that. So I felt that we should really address this question of freedom of the seas, which actually started in the days of your great hero Vasco da Gama and the French Victor Hugo. But we are now seriously thinking, is it good to you know, stay with that concept of human heritage, or should we tighten our belt and start conserving and be careful about exploration and exploitation? Obviously, we cannot say no to huge industries that are after, you know, the resources like cobalt, seamount, cobalt, and others. But we need to do it in a responsible way. So GIBS is founded with that goal in mind, to work with the industry, work with the United Nations as far as ICs are concerned. And you know, I'm from the United States. So our country has really not ratified the law of the sea, but we have recognized, and the United States is playing a key role in terms of developing policies. ICAT Whale Commission, Sargasso Sea Commission. So we are very cooperative, but we have not ratified the treaty. So GIBS is really trying to make progressive steps to conserve deep sea in particular for future generations.
Yeah, I think it's the most needed and the most noble goal to pursue.
Thank you.
And what about the involvement of the industry in that view? From my personal point of view, industry has everything to benefit from a nice image on sustainability, for adhering to sustainable practices. But how do you feel the industry is going with that?
That's a good question, and I think, you know, with the Gulf of Mexico oil spill, you know, the British Petroleum is now fined $19 billion. That's a big blow to ecological, you know, integrity of the huge ecosystem. Like, so we need, industry has to be cautioned. You know, you can't be 100% greedy. You know, it's a human quality nature,
Yeah.
Going after big money. But we need to work with conservation people.
Yeah.
So industry has to really, come down
Yeah.
to reality.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to commit suicide.
Yeah.
It's like we are doing damages to our ecosystems.
Yes.
So in the long run, and some scientists, including my own colleagues, and I have written also on that by 2100, we may not be able to reverse the trend. It becomes irreversible.
Yes.
Whatever we do now is extremely important.
Yeah.
This conference and what we heard from people like Christina Jade, who has been working in this field and collaborating with me, I met her in several platforms, is very important.
Yeah.
Yes, science matters and scientists matter too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it is very important. And how do you feel the young people, the students, are involved in this part? You think they are more on the, so to speak, purely research field, discovering new species, making lots of interesting peer-reviewed papers, or do you feel they are committed to causes, to a crusade for the environment and the quest for sustainability? What do you think about?
I think that's a very pertinent question because, when we started the deep sea biology annual meetings, it's actually once in 3 years, there were not many young students.
Yeah.
Now today, the number of students in Portugal is really mostly youngsters, which is a good sign. So they need to be cognizant of the seriousness of the issue.
Yeah.
Because the large-scale mining in the deep sea is going to obliterate life not only on the seafloor, on the water column, the entire food chain.
Yeah.
So the youngsters have the responsibility to carry this commitment. Just not only getting a degree from universities, but to make this a career.
Yes.
I won't be around for a long time.
I hope you are wrong on that
I
side.
hope so. But still, I would like to see my students and other students take this seriously.
Yes.
And we need to open up jobs. Maybe the industry can help, either by employing them or giving large endowment, to support students, the royalty. That may be one approach. So I am inclined more toward working in a cooperative spirit with the industry, not in a conflicting or a controversial, confronting pattern. Cooperate with them.
I fully agree with you because in my point of view, the industry is ahead of science in a number of cases, and if we go into a clash, probably in the short term, in short run, industry will win. But then the damage will be so much outrageous to public opinion, then they will have to reverse the position. But then the damage will have been done to the ecosystems. And so it is better to work together hand in hand and to, so that managers of the industry realize better what are the implications of the mining activities, and they invest something on creating sustainability either to the ecosystems and also to their own business. And it is especially important when you have competing markets. So if one does wrong, probably there are one or two from the competition that will be right. And then it will run for the outlaw, so to speak.
I think you brought a very important point because the industry may have to be even brought in for conferences like this. Representatives from Nautilus should be here. Somebody who has a training in marine laws and policies or even science to have a dialogue with us. You and I are scientists. We need to have a dialogue with the industry because that is the reason why I am here, because we formed what is called a working group for ocean acidification and seamounts. The seamount, there are 100,000 seamounts. That's a lot. And we know very little about the seamounts. So it's a very important ecosystem. So we formed a working group which will have a meeting day after tomorrow, Wednesday here, to initiate a dialogue. how do we save the seamounts?
Yeah.
And we already know from ISA, International Seabed Authority, what mines are targeted in the Indian Ocean, in the, off Brazil, in the Rio Grande Rice, and in the Western Pacific. So we need to have a triangular dialogue with the industry, ISA, and the scientists and the young students.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And
Yeah.
the young students are the future. They can go
Yes.
in a different number of ways. They
Very
can go
much so.
out of business
Yes.
if there is no employment, or they can go just for the industry, taking out as much and as fast as they can,
Yes.
or they can put some scientific knowledge on our sort of sustainability matters and
Yes.
to work that out at close quarters with industry. Yeah.
Yes.
And I would also like to put you another question, if you agree, is about the seamounts. You have mentioned seamounts are all around us, and they are very important. And we know there are some general features, apart from the physical and bathymetric ones, and also about higher productivity than in the surrounding areas. But are there very different types of seamounts from your experience, or you can put them roughly together in a broad ecosystem? How do you put that, please?
Well, I think, all seamounts are not created equal.
Yeah, okay.
There are seamounts which are really refugee for deep sea corals.
Yeah.
You have seamounts and the continental margin. Current prediction is that the ASH, which is the aragonite saturation horizon, is coming up in upwelling areas and wiping out seamounts and continental margins. But seamounts in the high seas are refugia for deep sea corals. Seamounts are also sort of like migratory fishes. They jump or go from one seamount to the other throughout the axis of the North Atlantic. So seamounts needs to receive a higher protection, basically. And we know there is a very sizable deposit of cobalt. So the industries are attracted toward cobalt, and they don't really are concerned about the migratory, vertically, the migrating species. And there is going to be seismic, environmental impact statement. That may deafen some of the whales. So we need to look at what damage the industry will do, and then work with them, and possibly even discuss, do it in that seamount but not in this seamount.
Yeah, you have to know the difference.
And unfortunately, our knowledge about the seamount in the Indian Ocean is not as good as what we know. I have worked in the corner rice seamount. I even developed a food chain, published that, the paper on corner rice seamounts. We need to understand the food web, actually. And we may have to use the industry money to lead expeditions in the Indian Ocean to know more about a very poorly known ocean, frankly.
I think it is a wise attitude. I only am concerned in this case on the time scale, because scientists usually need more time to make decent studies on some things that are deeply unknown than people that invest money and wish to have a return in the short term. So do you not have a risk of getting the industry to pay quick studies and not in-depth studies over a long period of time? And should they do that after all?
Well, we have not opened this discussion, what you are bringing up. I think we need long-term observatory. We need to tell the industry to place both in the water column, subsurface, and in fact, in my letter to Dr. Marina Cunha, and also to other deep sea colleagues, that I said the ISA may not be enough. They are more into regulatory. We may have to create a new UN agency for monitoring and putting an observatory to monitor environmental changes because of climate change and also because of the mining activity. So as you said, it's not a quick work, it should be a long-term work. And I think we can convince the industry Particularly the mining folks are talking with people like Christina Jade and others. And I am getting involved in this. We are going to have a meeting in the world in a high carbon, in the ocean in the high carbon world, in Hobart from May 2nd to the 7th. So this working group will be there to discuss, and that will be a large international meeting, about the size of this one in Portugal. So we are going to bring that up there, working group meeting. I think we need to work hard at this time and get youngsters involved as well, as you said.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It's good news to hear from you about that. Would you like to put some other issues now, what you feel is most needed for the future about that involvement with industry and pursuing with training of students? Do you feel there is something crucial that has been missed so far?
Well, I think this question brings up some sort of a written agreement. It is a mutual understanding. And it should not be simply in words. It should be written, signed as an agreement, a declaration. I think this matter has become so serious. I am myself convinced that if we don't do action now, I think we will lose a vast amount of deep sea corals, which have a skeleton made of aragonite. In a high carbon world, they will dissolve. So we are going to lose big ecosystems, not just species. So the threat is real. So we need to have some kind of a mutual written agreement and declaration. Yes, like the Sargasso Sea, there is a commission for it. So we need to do something like that for seamounts.
And about the Sargasso Sea Convention, the adhesion to that convention is something that is reserved for states, or could be accessed by organizations, by private people from non-official departments, from regions. What do you think about what's the accessing rules for the Sargasso Sea Convention?
I think my feeling is the Sargasso Sea Commission is very new, very youthful. We may have to take some examples Europeans have done with the OSPAR program. You're familiar with that?
Yes, I am Portuguese and delegate to OSPAR.
I personally think that in the North Atlantic, I am an advisor and a delegate to ICES, International Council for Exploration of the Seas, for many years, which focus only on North Atlantic. I personally, Antonio, can I call you by first name?
Please.
You call me Bob, and that's how. So I think we need to really set a model with North Atlantic, with ICES taking the lead. So we need OSPAR, and then we need ASOR. That's your country. I'm working with Telmo Morato, and who will be here. I think he's here.
Yes, Telmo is here.
So Telmo is working on it. So we need one for Azores, like the Sargasso Sea, one OSPAR, which is already there, and one in the high seas of my state, North Carolina. So we are coming up with some suggestions to make large-scale marine protected areas in the high seas. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Your attention and your expertise on it. It is most appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.